As we move into the next part of the evening, let's remember to let go our egos and let go our ego. And please give us all we could ever need and more. To not be afraid to cause a commotion, to not be a robot going through the motions. I won't conform, heck no, I'll be formed. By the truth till I've broken every single norm. And been transformed, call me Optimus Prime. Bulletproof to temptation and any man's lies. Don't shy off the beaten path, leap off it. And the mold they put you in, scream out it. Because when bombarded by torrential rain, the only way to get through it is to face strain. Take it head on and brace for any consequence. People hating up a storm weather's inclement, but I'm chomping at the bit ready to make a scene, till the coward in me's been blown to smithereens. Giving off a loving odor anywhere I go, the aroma of peace drench my soul. And any ramification coming my way, same approach MLK used back in the day. If you go to the next slide, a big portion of what they stood for and what they embodied and what we try to strive for too with the Citizens for Peace is this concept of one race human, right? That we're able to see everybody as human beings before anything else. Whether that person was born differently than us, a different skin color, a different language, a different background, a different country, different hairstyle, clothing style, they walk differently, they talk differently, they see differently, they hear differently, they learn differently. We still see them first and foremost as human beings before anything else. Go to the next slide. There's a speaker named Nick Vujicic. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of him before, and he's been on TV and speaks all over the world, born without any arms and without any legs. He has a wife, 2 kids from Australia. He's in his 30s as well. And growing up, you know, he was bullied to the point, you can imagine, that he had thought about taking his life on multiple occasions. But it's cool, there's a story, he was speaking at elementary school in a gym about maybe 3 times the size of this sanctuary. And on one side of the gym there were some bleachers. And at the end of the assembly, all the students and teachers started to exit and leave. But this mom was there with her 3-year-old daughter watching the assembly. And we all know what 3-year-olds do, whatever they want. And she was just like waiting for 45 minutes, like on edge, ready to just burst out, like her energy, right? So finally people are leaving and exiting. She said, okay, just go. So she bolts. And she starts to just, you know, skip and hop and twirl and cartwheels and float. And she's running full steam all around the gym. She's the same height as Nick. And he's off his wheelchair saying goodbye to people. Usually he's on it. But at the last second corner of her eye, she catches them and slams on the brakes, and they're face to face. And she takes a step back and she looks him up and down. And she says, what's going on here? She's never seen anybody without arms and legs, right? This 3-year-old. But her next move, without really thinking, she puts both of her arms behind her back like this. And she hugs him with her neck like this. And it was so beautiful because she didn't care how tall he was, the brand name of his clothes, whether he had arms or legs. All she cared about was the heart. And that's our goal, is to be able to see that. And unfortunately, like I said before, things cloud that. We have to heal, become healed people to heal people. And be able to see others for what's on the inside first. Just like, next slide, puppies. And these are our 3 fur babies. We have Mrs. Murillo on the left, Kiki Melaniki in the middle, and Bare Bones Jones the third on the right. And if you go to the next slide, this is them at Christmas. And then next slide, Easter. This is Bear's best friend, Dakota. They actually just had another play date. Next slide. This just today. Keep going. I'm in the sandbox. And Dakota has to wear a diaper, right? He has a diaper usually on 95% of the time. Next slide. He's also in a wheelchair. And the reason I'm showing you this, and why I show a lot of youth that I speak to, is that, you know, I ask them the question, do you think that Bear cares 1 ounce that his best friend is disabled? And they say no. Go to the next slide. All he cares about is that when it's time to play with Dakota, and we'll tell him Dakota's coming over, and he runs to the door, and he'll wait like this for an hour and a half. Just stay right at the door, waiting for his best friend. And as soon as he comes through, it's playtime, it's kisses, hugs, everything. And you guys have a pet or a dog, you know what I'm talking about. No matter what kind of day you had, they had, how you're looking on the outside, what's going on the inside, they're going to still show you this love. Next slide. And this is a story here about a boy named Shane, 6 years old in this picture, and his dog Belker. And his parents came to Shane and said, Shane, you know, we have to put Belker down. He's very sick, he's old, and he's been suffering. And Shane's playing with his toys, and he looks up for a second and he says, okay, I understand. And he goes back to playing with his toys. And they're like, did you not just hear us? Like, what's going on? And I said, okay, well, they just thought maybe he didn't really hear right. And so they said, well, okay, we're going to pick you up after school. We got to go to the vet, and we have to do this. So they get to the vet. Now the doctor's telling Shane what's going to happen, that Belker's getting very old, he's been suffering, he's in a lot of pain, and we have to put him to sleep. And Shane looks at the doctor and says, yeah, I know. It's okay. And the doctor's like, why aren't you crying? Why aren't you showing emotion? What's going on? And he said, well, because I know why dogs don't live as long as humans. Because they've already understood the meaning of life. Unconditional love. It just takes us longer. And I mean, that's really what we were created to do, right? Is to show that. Some through our music, some through our food, our books, our languages, our fight for social justice. That's what we're here for. Next slide.